Welcome back to another episode in the garage. Today we're going to do the Haro Bike Citizen carbon race frame review. We're going to build it up from a frame all the way up to race ready. Let's get into it. So I literally took my entire bike apart for this video. So what we have here is the Haro Pro XL Citizen carbon race frame. I didn't want to take the cables out because they're all internally routed and I didn't want to break the chain, but we'll go over them anyways. I'm sure you guys know how to put those together. 21-inch top tube, and I don't know the rear end length. Let's measure it real quick. Rear end is center of the dropout to center of the bottom bracket, 15 1/4. I run the Shadow Conspiracy 330 seconds, half length race chain. These chains are so strong. I've always been a head case over the years of racing, just at breaking chains, and I've literally, knock on wood, never broken Shadow half length chain. And this chain has actually been on 3 different bikes, I believe. I just keep recycling it, and I just put a new pin in it, and it is dialed. Let's start with, what are the seat and brakes? Seat, just a little lightweight plastic carbon post, plastic top. I'm sure you can guess the brand, but I'm not parting with them, so I ain't shot them out. That's how it works. Seat clamp, this is the Avian quick release. Nothing special, but it's black. I don't run my seat all the way down because I'm getting old and I like to sit down when I'm doing gate starts. When the seat's all the way down and I sit down like say I'm waiting on a gate, it just kind of hurts my knees, so I like to jack it up just a little bit. The brakes I use are, they're actually a Shimano brake. I'm not partnered with them, but I wanted to let you know how this brake is because a lot of people go out there and they get like these super expensive, like whatever the expensive brakes are on the market right now. These are like 10 bucks on Amazon, and they're cheap, but only thing is, it's like they don't have all the little plastic around the bolts to make them look all clean, you know? I have stainless bolts that I've just been recycling off other bikes, but dude, they're all black. You don't need that plastic gimmicky stuff to make them work any better. These actually last longer because there's no like little plastic tabs to break, and it's just straightforward, and literally 10 bucks. These brakes have been on my last sponsored bike, and now they're on my carbon Haro, and they're working just fine. Like I said, basic spring, never really wears out, 10 bucks, and they get the job done. I run my brakes in the middle hole. There's 3 holes when you're putting your brakes together. If you go in the top hole, it really wrenches your brakes out and it puts a lot of tension on your springs. Far rear hole, there's not enough tension for the wheels to have enough spring tension to brake. So I go right in the middle, and then you can adjust everything from there. My front fork is also Avian brand, carbon, 20 mil, and tapered fork. Tapered means your traditional head tube is 1 1/8 inch up here. Well, now BMX has progressed to the tapered, which comes from the mountain bike and road world, and this is actually a 1 1/2 inch bottom. So you got a lot more strength and stiffness down here versus the top. That's where if you case a jump and you crack a fork, that's because your frame's here and your fork goes, everything spreads, and that's how you break it. So they thicken this area to make a super lightweight fork out of carbon, but also keep just as much strength as you need around the track. I've already put grease in the head tube. Good thing about these bikes, for some kids might not even remember, but we actually used to have to press, for the younger guys, we actually used to have to press cups into our frame, and then the bearings went inside there, which was a headache. But now everything's just made so nice, the bearings just go right in with no problem. Bars, Avian Impala bar, which is 8 inch, I believe. Sweep on these are 6 degrees back sweep, 4 degrees up sweep, and then I have the Avian front load stem, front load drop stem, because I'm short. Brake lever, just carbon race lever. I'm sure you could guess the brand. Slides right on. We'll go to the wheels since we already have one here. For tires, the Maxxis Torch 20 by 195. Beat it up to an Avian carbon race rim. We have tie spokes, which I already hope you saw that video last week of how to build wheels, and I use these tie spokes. 20 millimeter profile elite front hub. Not a supporter, but it's just a hub that I've literally, again, recycled from probably the past 4 bikes because it's a front hub, it's basic, change bearings every now and then, it's brand new, good to go again. Alright, back wheel, same tire, different size. I actually used to run, I say used to purely because I ran out, but I used to run the DTH in the rear because as much as I love the Torch has good side grooves, so when you're really kind of carving in an asphalt turn, you have something to bite against. But you have the solid bead down the middle, obviously. It's got a little grip in there, which is super good. But sometimes, a lot of tracks nowadays have all the upgraded, like, pretty sharp metal gates. But if you go to a track that's got, like, smooth concrete as the starting platform, sometimes I've had myself slip with these. So I actually went to a DTH tire, which has the cuts down the middle. It gives you a little more bite on that smooth surface concrete. Actually, I'll show you the DTH, in case you don't know. So, see here, we have the Torch, which is like pretty smooth. It's for rolling fast, a fast rolling tire. Which the DTH, still a fast rolling tire, but see how it's got the knobs in the middle? It just gives you a little more bite when you're trying to kind of get that grip on the concrete or asphalt or whatever you're sprinting on. Yeah, I only have 9.5s and I run 20 by 1.75 in the rear. Again, these are seated up to a Avian carbon rim. We have Maxxis ultralight tubes in there. I used to run this tube called an Eclipse, which was this weird like thin tube that was like half the weight of these tubes. But I did that when I was full race focused, and it just makes for a lighter rotational weight, because the idea behind having light wheels is you want light rotational weight. It's not as important if all the weight is down here in the center, but if you have a heavy tire, it's like pushing a bigger gear. So you want all this stuff lightweight, light rims, light tubes, light tires, all of it combined, all of it adds up and really makes a difference. But I have the Maxxis ultralight tubes, which is still super light, but it's like a normal price tube. The clear tubes I was talking about, a lot of freestyle guys run this tube that's like a clear orange. I forget the name of it, but they're like $60, $70 a tube. Yeah, a tube, 60, 70 bucks, which is insane. So, and they pop real easy, so I ain't trying to do that anymore. Rear hub is an Onyx. Yeah, no particular reason. I just had one a couple years ago and built it up. I'm running a 17 in the rear. And I think I have 47 in the front, which comes out to be like a little under 45/16, I believe. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. Oh, I almost forgot. I still run a number plate. You don't see any of those moto guys showing up to the track without a number plate on their dirt bike. Could be looking goofy, right? So we keep the plates on the race bike at all times. This is the Mac components. All the sponsors. We got Avian, ODI, Fly, Maxxis, Haro bikes, of course, and the big old 95. Is there anybody on there missing? Present should be on there. Those CBD drinks I drink, that's meant to be on there. As you can see, if you can't tell already, I'm proudly supported by ODI grips, and I almost forgot to put the ODI grips on. I got a drawer full of grips, but these are the AG1 grips, and they're actually just now getting a good wear down. But the logo's still popping, and they just feel so good now. Just enough broken in. So we're gonna put these back. If you haven't used the Elite grips yet, notice there's no lock on that side. There's only one lock on this side. How they did that was inside the grip, it actually tapers. So you put it on, if you put it on right here, you notice it feels pretty loose, but as you push it, it gets tighter. It goes all the way, but you gotta push it all the way on until it stops. That's because it's tapered inside, so the hole is wider here and it gets smaller, narrower on this end. So then we know it's going to be tight here once it slides all the way on, and then you tighten your lock, and then boom, one lock, and your grips are good to go. A 3mm Allen key tightens these up. Always make sure you don't want to rock the logo like that. Rock the logo. These grips are actually made to the perfect hand position. Roughly perfect hand position leaves the logo sitting at the right angle. So always check that. Speaking of logo positioning, if you didn't see my wheel build video, if you notice, see how those logos are like right on top of each other? That tire is actually a little crooked. I don't know how I did that. But you always put the logos over the valve hole. Notice with this one, the valve hole for the rim is actually, logo is printed over the valve. Then you take your Maxxis logo and you line it up right over the valve stem as well. Same on this one. You got Maxxis, Avian, valve stem. It's just proper bike maintenance. Now for the cranks. Avian 1.75 cranks with my Renin 47.2 is actually what I have. We didn't have to press those in, but I did have to, not a hard press, you can actually just tap them in with a little rubber mallet, but these bearings slide right into the bottom bracket of these frames. Not a Euro bottom bracket where you have to thread it in. I forget the name of these, but they press right in, and then cranks go in right behind it. I've ran Renin chain rings since, when did Renin, probably when they start, couldn't tell you. George Costa, hit me up, let me know. I've ran these things for so long, if you even remember. But what I like about the Renin teeth, this one, it doesn't show it as much because it's a decimal gear, but their teeth are just a little bigger than normal. Instead of your normal 44, 45, 46, 47, this is a 47.2, so it's a little bit, just a hair bigger, so it makes the gear just a little harder. I'll grab another one and I'll show you why I like the Renin chain ring so much. Here we have a Renin 44. So, if we can get close. You see how fat those teeth are? They're just spaced out enough where they fit in your chain, no problem. But if you see your traditional, whatever, I literally don't even know what other sprocket brands are out there right now. But notice how fat these are. The skinnier, normal one is a skinnier tooth. It fits in the chain with a little more play. Not that you have the play, but once it starts wearing out, you only have so much room for wear. Renin chain rings, I've literally ridden for a whole season, if not more. I've never been the guy who asks for too many parts from sponsors. I like to get the product and literally run it into the ground. I've probably ridden parts a little longer than I should, but I like to get the most out of them, and with these Renin chain rings, it's so good for that because the teeth are fat and they just last forever. I love it. I actually like to run my chain kind of loose. I do it just enough where I can't push it hard and flex it off, because when your chain's loose, it just, it's hitting my brake cable. When your chain's loose, it's just less friction, less tension, and it just lets your crank spin a little more freely. When you tighten your headset, don't just overly crank on it. You want it to be pretty snug, because you obviously don't want to feel a loose headset, but you also don't want to just overly crank down on it, and then your headset's all tight, and it just doesn't feel good when you're riding on the track. So grips are tight, headset's tight, front wheel is tight. Same thing with cranks. You don't want to over tighten them where it binds them up in the bottom bracket. Just good, nice and snug. Because you got to remember, you want your crank spinning freely. That's where the BMX race is won and lost, right? Who pedals faster to the first turn and then gets to the finish line first. So, because as you're pedaling, if you're fighting against a tight bottom bracket, then you're just fighting against yourself. So make sure your cranks are spinning good, and then that's free speed right there. You know what? We should lube the chain. The chain is lubed. Last, my HT pedals. These are focusing, focus. There we go. So HT SX pedal. This is actually the BMX version. I'm not sure why. I want to say it's just a little bit stiffer of a spring from your normal HT pedal that you have on a mountain bike or whatever. You can ride these on whatever you want, but the ones with the SX or the BMX version, and they're a little tighter, so if you have the spring all the way tightened down, then it's going to be harder to unclip. Your right pedal is the right threads, but your left pedal is opposite threads, which is called left-hand threads. So instead of lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, your left pedal is lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. Just remember that so you don't go cross-threading pedals. Pedals, I don't like to over-tight because, especially if they stay there, if you're someone that only rides clip pedals, you don't put your flat pedals on enough, they tend to seize in there a bit, so I like to go to the stopping point and just give them a little snug right after that. Go till it stops and just give it a little snug. Pedals are actually reverse threads for that reason, so they don't come undone while you're pedaling. But yes, given if you don't have them tightened enough, they can break loose. But we did it in however long this video is. Hopefully not too long. But here it is. The Haro Citizen Carbon race bike. My race bike of choice. I might not be racing anytime soon, but it goes to the track weekly and I still put the work in. What was I thinking? How are we gonna build a race bike and not weigh it to see how much it weighs? We're zeroed out, we're in pounds. Keeps moving. I'm gonna say 17 pounds, 12 ounces. It keeps moving. Damn, that's not bad. Kilos, 8 point. That's moving. We're gonna do 8 kilos. 17 pounds, holy shit. That might be the lightest race bike I've ever owned. Look at this killer day. I can't be in the shop too much longer. BMX track. We got a Bobcat getting dropped off this weekend. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the weather stays good and the tractor can come. We can move dirt because that's it next. The jumps you can see on there, all the dirt jumps are down there, but it's still kind of wet far out there. It's not too wet to ride, but it's too wet to get the tractor down there where I get the dirt. I'm actually digging a pond on the back of the property. That's where all the dirt comes from, so to dig it from way the hell over there to bring it here, which is kind of frustrating. So we're gonna work on the high side of the yard and work on the BMX track. Ignore the mess, but this is gonna be my deck. We're gonna have a 4-man starting gate right there. You can do gate efforts, go down first straightaway, second straightaway, and come straight back. You never have to pedal back. Then eventually we'll turn back and make it a full track. All right, and that is a wrap on the build. Hope you guys liked it. If there's anything I can help you with out on your build, use the comments below. Let me know, and I'll try to help you out as much as possible. Like, subscribe, support the cause. Until next time, see you guys.